In this last lesson for measurement grade 11, we are going to have a look at some interesting questions on surface area and volume, where you sometimes also need to use your trig rules. So before you have a look at this video, you need to make sure that you know all your trig rules and that you are able to apply them, and that you know all the formulas for measurement. Example 1. The sketch shows a cylinder and a cone with the same base and the same height of 15 centimeters. The surface area of the cylinder is 368 pi centimeters squared. The question is to calculate the volume of the cone. The formula to calculate the volume of a cone is 1/3 pi r squared times height. We are given that the height is 15 centimeters, but the radius of this cone and cylinder is not given. To determine this radius, we need to use the information given about the surface area of the cylinder. So here we are going to make use of algebra to calculate a measurement so that we can use that measurement in a formula. The formula for the surface area of a cylinder is 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r times height. We were given that this surface area for the cylinder is 368 pi, and when we substitute on the right hand side, the only value that was given was the measurement for height, which was 15. Now we can use this equation to calculate the radius. I'm reminding you that pi has a specific value. Here, pi is in all three terms, and that is why I'm going to now divide by pi straight through my equation. Once I've done that, the equation looks as follows. Now, because I'm solving r and I have an r squared, I'm going to get all the terms on one side of the equation. And now I can factorize and then solve r. Because we are calculating the radius, which is a distance, minus 23 is not valid in our question, so the radius for both the cylinder and cone will be 8. Now, finally, we can calculate the volume of this cone. We already have our formula, so I'm going to substitute the radius with 8 and the height with 15. The volume of this cone will then be 1005,31 centimeters cubed. Example 2. In the sketch is a triangular prism, and the first question is calculate the volume of the prism. To calculate the volume of a triangular prism, we need to take the area of the base and multiply it by the height of the prism. Usually we would say that the area of the base, this is a triangle, so that will be half times base times perpendicular height, and then multiply that by the height of the prism. But in our example, we do not have the base or perpendicular height of this triangle, so we cannot use this formula to determine the area of the base. That is why we are now going to use grade 11 trigonometry. We are going to use the area rule, which states that the area of a triangle can be determined using the formula half times A times B times sin of angle C, and then still multiply this by the height of the prism. So if we focus on our triangle, we have small side B as 8, small side A as 5, and the angle in between, which is angle C. So we can go and substitute this into the formula and have half multiplied by 5 multiplied by 8 multiplied with sin of C, which is 120 degrees, and then multiply all of this by the height, which is 4 centimeters. The volume of this triangular prism will then be 69,28 centimeters cubed. To calculate the surface area of this prism, we need to add up the area of the two triangles and each one of the three rectangles. For the area of each one of the triangles, we just saw in question A that we can use our area rule. So we will have 2 times this rule, which is a half, multiplied by A, multiplied by B, multiplied with sin of angle C. For the rectangle on the front left-hand side, we simply have length times breadth, and the same goes for the rectangle on the front right-hand side. Once again, length times breadth. For the triangle at the back, we have the breadth of 4, but we still need to calculate the length. For this, we are going to use the cos rule. So if we focus on triangle ABC again, side AB squared will be equal to 8 squared plus 5 squared minus 2 times 8 times 5 times cos of 120 degrees. The square root of this value will then give us the value of AB, and that will then be 11,36 centimeters. Now we can go and calculate the final part of our surface area by multiplying this 11,36 by the breadth of 4. Therefore, the final surface area will be 132,08 centimeters squared. So, at the end of this chapter, you need to make sure that you know every single formula for surface area and volume, and that you understand them so that you can adjust them when necessary. And then you also need to remember that sometimes you will have to apply your trig rules.